In this video from Sam4S Help, we're taking a look at how to set up preset cache buttons on your ER900 series register. So in this video I'm using the model ER940, but the process will be the same on any machine in the range, particularly the ER920, which has the same keyboard. The ER925 and 945 will be slightly different because they have different keyboards on them, but crucially the process is the same on older Sam4S and Samsung tills. So if you've got an ER-5200 or 5200M, the process would be the same. Obviously you've got a slightly different keyboard on there, but everything I do in terms of programming protocols will be the same. So preset caches are buttons that are preset to be £5, £10, £20 and £50 cache. So they're basically, there's two advantages of them. They force the sales operator, cashier, to enter the exact amount of money. So rather than having to type out 2000 cash when they receive a £20 note, they simply hit the £20 preset cash button, and so it speeds up the transaction, but also it makes it clear what change is due, so you're avoiding any kind of awkwardness around that. It is all in the manual, but it's quite confusing because there's effectively two different steps. So the way the till does it is that you have a macro button and then program the macro button to be the £20 cash payment. So in the video I'm going to make a £5, £20 and £10 preset cash button, and the way the macro works is that the macro for £5 will be effectively 500 cash into one button press. So a macro is basically a quick way of having multiple button presses or sequences with under one button. So I'll try and keep the video as short as possible. Obviously there's quite a few steps to go through. So the first step you need to do is to make your macro buttons, because there are no macro buttons on the till keyboard as standard. So you have to pick ideally some of your function buttons over here to be macro buttons, and then make a note of what you're going to do. So I've already written down that I'm going to make check number, my £20 cash, the %2, my £10 cash, and %1 is going to be my £5 cash. You don't have to use my buttons for this. You can choose whichever ones you want. The process is the same, but the first thing I need to do is to now make those buttons into the macro buttons, and the way you do that is on the ER900 series manual. You're looking for pages 78 and 79. 78 has the function key assignment, so that's the flow chart which is going to tell you how to change any of these function buttons into any of these function buttons, and I've already highlighted macro 1, 2 and 3. So I'll show you how it works by creating those 3 macro buttons. So the first thing is to make sure you've got the metal key marked C. So I've got the C key, pop it in and then turn it round to the unmarked service position. So this is, the key is at 6 o'clock, it's not marked on there because it's service mode, which is in theory for engineer use only. When you're in the service mode position, you get service mode appear on the display, and you need to type in 70, then subtotal, and then you type in the macro 1 number. So the number for macro 1 is 170, and then you press the key location. So my macro 1 is going to be the £5. So if you remember from my little notepad, I've want that to be the %1. And then to save that function key, you press cache. You get a little receipt printout which we'll take a look at shortly. You then repeat the procedure, so S mode 70 subtotal. For macro 2 the code is 171, and then we're going to use %2 for that. Cache to save, and then the 70 subtotal, and then the code for macro 3, again referring to the chart, is 172. The same codes apply on the 5200, but they might just be in a different page of the manual. So macro 172, that's my check number button, and then you press cache to save. So we see if we print that out, we've now got macro 3, macro 2 and macro 1, so they're all set up. So the next thing is to start processing your macro sequence. Dig out the right page of the manual. So it's under miscellaneous programming and it's macro sequence programming. So this time you're in the P position, so PGM, and you start by typing in 1500 and pressing subtotal. You then press the macro button that you want to program. So I'm going to do the £5 one first, so that's my %1 button here. And it comes up and says macro 1 program. Now you basically put in the sequence of key turns and button presses. So the first thing to do, and this can catch people out, is to make sure you turn the key round to the reg mode, because the button will do exactly what you program it to do. So the key needs to be in reg because the operation would normally happen in the reg mode. £5 cash would happen in reg. So key to reg, and then literally 500 cash. Then you turn the key back to the PGM position, and then you press the macro button again. So remember that my first one is the %1 button, and then you save by pressing cash, and then you can see you've got a little printout telling you what the macro button will now do. So it's macro and then reg mode 500 cash. We can test that before we go into the others. So key back to reg, and then we press say Foster's. Not great for my £5 tender. In fact, I'll do a different one. If I put £1 into a button, will it let me? No. £1. Have I got something? There we go. So 335 on that item, and then I press my £5 cash button, and it's preset to 5, and the change is 165. So we know that's worked. So we're confident that the procedure works. So it's key back to PGM. In the 940 or the 900, it's page 163 to find this chart. It's useful to keep referring back to that because it reminds you to turn the key to the correct mode. So to program macro 2 to be £10 cash, it's in the P mode, it's 1500 subtotal. Then you press the macro key, so this one is %2, macro 2. Then you turn the key round to reg, and then again you type in the key sequence. So for £10 it'd be 1000 cash. Then crucially, checking the instructions, you now turn the key back to the PGM mode, and then press the macro key, the same one, to end the sequence, and then save it by pressing cash. Again, if we look here, we've got macro 2, reg mode 1000 cash, and now we can finish the procedure by programming my final £20 one, which I've got as check number. So that's macro 3. So P position 1500 subtotal. Press the macro, which is this button here for me. Macro 3 comes up. Key round to the reg mode, and then we enter £20, so 2000 cash. Turn the control lock to the PGM position, and then press the macro button, and then cash to save. We get the printout confirming what we've done, and we should now be able to test all those. So in the reg position, if we sell a pint of Foster's, we've got our £10 cash, and then Amstel, and our £20 cash. So that's how to add preset cash tenders to the ER900 series. But as I said at the start of the video, that'll also work if you've got a 5200. I'd always, before you start anything like this, because it's a fairly complicated program, find the right page of the manual. These are downloadable from the Sam4S Help website, because your process might be slightly different. You might need more macro keys, so you can have on these machines you can have up to 10 macro keys, and you can actually use macro keys to get your reports done. But I'll put another video showing you how to set that up, which I'll put a link to at the end of this video. So yeah, basically that covers everything. So I hope this video has been helpful. We've done plenty more videos on the ER900 series. Some of those videos will be appearing on screen now, which you're welcome to check out. You can also subscribe to this YouTube channel or visit sam4shelp.co.uk for more. Thanks for watching.